как все произойдет далее, но на данном этапе мы видим, что венесуэльское руководство отстаивает свои национальные приоритеты и отстаивает свой национальный суверенитет и необходимость участия в международных отношениях именно в качестве равноправного, суверенного, независимого государства. Я очень надеюсь, что все, кто заинтересован в отношениях с Венесуэлой, включая Соединенные Штаты, будут отвечать взаимностью.
Greenland is part of NATO, and when we are speaking about Arctic security, this is one of the core topics of NATO, and we know that the glue between the allies is the fact that there's always the clear motto: one for all for one. So NATO is one forum to integrate the different interests that are out there.
This is my video update on this Wednesday midday, January the 14th, coming to you from Limassol, Cyprus. Let's talk about some news, and let's start things off with the European Union talking about appointing a Putin negotiator. According to Politico, the EU is looking for someone to speak with Russian President Vladimir Putin. You would think that this would be the job of the Foreign Office of the European Union, the Office of Kaja Kallas. At least that would be the office that would get the diplomacy rolling, get it moving forward, and then maybe once you get the diplomacy going with the Russian Foreign Ministry, then eventually you set up a meeting between Putin and, if you're the European Union, it would be Ursula, right? So it would be the Office of Kaja Kallas engaging with Lavrov and then setting up a meeting between Ursula and Putin. That would be the normal way of doing things. But that's never going to happen. That is never, ever going to happen. I'm laughing just thinking about that. So what does the EU have to do? Because Kallas obviously cannot be the person to engage with Lavrov, obviously. And Ursula, well, obviously she cannot be the person to engage with Putin, obviously. So what are you left with? You're left with the EU looking for someone to become the Putin negotiator, because they have to start speaking with Russia, because Russia is winning this conflict. Trump is negotiating, mediating, the neutral mediator with Russia, and so the EU does not want to be left out. They want a seat at the table, at the negotiating table. And so the person that they're looking at, according to Politico, is Alexander Stubb, the leader of Finland. And one of the reasons they give for Stubb is that he is on good terms with Trump. He plays golf with Trump, that's what they said. Some diplomats told Politico one of the reasons why Stubb is the most qualified to become the Putin negotiator is because he's on good terms with Trump and he's his golfing buddy. So that's what qualifies you to become a Putin negotiator, if you're Trump's golfing buddy. But he's the leader of Finland, and Stubb always talks about the history between Finland and Russia, even though Stubb has no idea about the history between Finland and Russia. And he looks like he is the guy that they are going to choose at least at the moment, to lead the negotiations with Putin if Putin were to accept such a proposal. So we're going to have a big meeting in Davos next week. January the 19th is when we have the WEF in Davos. Eat them bugs. And it's going to be a big one. This is going to be a really big Davos event. All the cool kids are going to be there. All of the cool kids. All of the EU top officials. All of the European leaders, the collective West leadership, they're all going to be represented in Davos. Zelensky's going to be there, running around Davos, Switzerland, looking for money, and President Trump. Trump is going to be in Davos, and he is going to be the keynote speaker. What is Trump going to say at Davos? Everyone is anticipating Trump's speech at the WEF. Is he going to give a speech that is pro-globalist, pro-empire, or anti-globalist and anti-empire? And does his speech even matter? Do his words even matter anymore? So according to the Financial Times, the Europeans, they are going to be chasing Trump for a meeting so that they can figure out Project Ukraine. And for them, the most important thing is that they get Trump to agree on providing a U.S. backstop, security guarantees for Project Ukraine. And if they can get the Trump administration to agree to provide security for Project Ukraine, then that means the UK and France, Macron and Stammer, can begin putting boots on the ground if there is a ceasefire. It all depends on a ceasefire. 7,000 British troops, 6,000 French troops. They are ready to go to Ukraine. But first they need a ceasefire, and even before the ceasefire, according to the Financial Times, they need Trump to commit to U.S. security guarantees, the United States providing a backstop for the Europeans, according to the Financial Times and the diplomats that they spoke with. The Project Ukraine idea of boots on the ground is impossible without United States security. So they are going to be chasing after Trump in Davos. I imagine they're also going to be talking to Trump about Greenland. I think that's going to be top on the agenda as well for the Europeans. But before we get to Greenland, we need to talk about Witkoff and Kushner. According to Bloomberg, they want to go to Moscow. Another trip to Moscow. Witkoff and Kushner. Will Putin agree to see Witkoff and Kushner again? This would be the seventh trip or the eighth trip. If Putin agrees to meet with Witkoff, it'll be the second trip for Kushner. I think it will be the second trip for Kushner. It'll be the seventh or eighth trip for Witkoff to Moscow. And this is going to be the trip, if Russia agrees, this would be the trip following the alleged drone assassination attempt into Valdai, Novgorod. It would look bad for Putin to agree to this meeting. It would look really bad, but he'll agree to it. He'll agree to it, but the optics of it all is not going to work in his favor. Not at all. Especially following the drone strikes, the alleged drone strikes. I wonder what Witkoff and Kushner would tell Putin if the drone strikes were indeed aimed at Putin's residence in Novgorod, and if the CIA did get the green light from Trump, or if the CIA initiated the drone strikes, and then they informed Trump after the fact, however it went down. But if there was indeed an attempt to take out Putin with the United States behind it, allegedly, this is all allegedly, I wonder what Witkoff would tell Putin in that meeting. It was just business, nothing personal. It was business, nothing personal, Mr. President Putin. Just business. That's how we operate in the Trump administration. Mafia foreign policy. Nothing personal, just business. Capiche? You understand, right? No hard feelings. Now let's talk about a Ukraine peace deal. So before we get to Greenland, let's talk about Iran, since I'm on the subject of Witkoff, because Axios is reporting that Witkoff had a secret meeting with the fake prince of Iran. Not so secret meeting, because Axios is reporting on it, with the fake prince, a man who is dying to get his hands on Iran and all of Iran's riches. What's the prince's name? Pahlavi, Reza Pahlavi, yeah. He is making the rounds on all of the collective West media outlets, urging Trump to go to war with Iran. Because if there is a regime change in Iran, and if the Trump administration decides to go with the fake prince, then he is going to benefit from the regime change in a big, big way. So according to Axios, not many details about what was discussed between Witkoff and the fake prince, but the protesters were discussed. And we are getting a lot of numbers as to how many protesters in Iran were killed over the past week or two. CBS News is putting out some big numbers for the amount of protesters that were killed. We're getting other estimates as well. On the low end, I've seen 1,000 to 2,000 protesters and police. It needs to be said that hundreds of security and police officers were also killed or injured. But we're getting numbers on the low end of 1,000 to 2,000, and on the high end from CBS News. CBS News, very, very trusted source, that's CBS News. They're putting out numbers in the range of 10 to 15,000. I've read other reports which say 20,000, just crazy numbers. But hard to know what to believe as far as the deaths and the casualties from these very violent protests, which I believe is now widely accepted, even in the West, that Iran has gotten on top of the protests. Things do appear to be under control in Iran. Axios' scoop: Trump's envoy secretly met Iran's exiled crown prince. Exiled. He's an exiled crown prince. What was I saying? Exiled crown prince. My bad. My bad, my mistake. I apologize to all the viewers. Exiled, Crown Prince McFly. Some days I'm just very, very stupid. Exiled Crown Prince, right? So Axios is also reporting that Secretary of State Rubio said in a closed-door meetings in recent days that at this stage, the administration is looking at non-kinetic responses to help the protesters, according to a source with direct knowledge. And Axios is also reporting that Trump says he knows what the possible response against Iran is going to be, but stresses he hasn't made a decision. He says he needs to get an accurate briefing about the situation in Iran and the death toll later today. Not about uranium enrichment anymore. Forget about uranium enrichment. Forget about that. Forget about Iran and their ballistic missiles program. Forget about that as well. It's all about the protesters now. It's all about the protesters. That's the new narrative. So Trump needs to get an assessment, a number, with regards to the protesters that were killed before he finalizes on his decision, which according to Axios, he has pretty much already made. He has already made up his mind. And if you also believe Axios' reporting, they claim that Rubio is talking about non-military operations against Iran. That could be cyber attacks, it could be information war, it could be a number of things. But nothing military. No airstrikes, no type of military operation into Iran. I do believe the US military needs a little bit more time to get military forces into position if they were going to launch some sort of military operation. But with this Trump administration, it's all deception, misdirection, trickery. So when Axios reports that Rubio is saying non-military, that's what they're looking at. It could be military. This could be more Trump misdirection. Trump did say to reporters the other day that he thinks U.S. allies that have some sort of a presence in Iran, that they should get out. Any type of collective West allies or collective West embassies or businesses or whatever, or citizens from the collective West, according to Trump, they should get out of Iran. So he said that. And he also posted on Truth Social. This used to be a Bennigan's. American fare, Irish hospitality for sale. It's a great location, an amazing location, but it didn't work out. At least not as a Bennigan's. So anyway, Trump, he posted on Truth Social, Iranian patriots, keep protesting, take over your institutions. That's in all caps with 3 exclamation marks. Save the names of the killers and abusers. They will pay a big price. I have canceled all meetings with Iranian officials until the senseless killing of protesters stops. Help is on the way. MIGA, President Donald J. Trump. Make Europe great again. Make Argentina great again. Make Iran great again. Make Israel great again. Make Greece great again. Make Cyprus great again. Peace through strength. Tired of it. Peace through strength. Tired. So, Trump talking about encouraging meddling in the affairs of another country. You would think that if there was one president that would be a bit more sensitive about meddling in the affairs of other countries, it would be US President Trump. You would think that he would be a bit more hesitant about promoting regime change and meddling in other countries' domestic affairs. It would be President Trump, but nope. Nope, he is encouraging it. He is encouraging the protesters to keep protesting. A whole lot of Starlink terminals were seized by the Iranian authorities. At least those are the images that they are publishing on the interwebs. I don't know if these images are to be believed or not, but we're getting video of hundreds of Starlink terminals that they're showing, seized by the government, Elon Musk. Up to no good if you believe these videos from Iran. So let's move on to Greenland. Let's talk Greenland. So Trump, speaking to reporters, he said that Greenland's going to have some big problems if they don't agree to give up Greenland to the United States, right? The Greenland officials are going to have some big problems if they don't agree to hand over their country to the United States. He was asked by a reporter about recent comments that the Prime Minister of Denmark, Frederiksen, and the Prime Minister of Greenland, Jan Frederik Nielsen, that they made in a press conference the other day, right before they were heading to the United States, where they are going to be meeting with U.S. Vice President Vance and also with Marco Rubio. And before they got on a plane to travel to the U.S., they spoke to the media. And the Prime Minister of Greenland said that Greenland chooses Denmark. If we have to choose between the United States and Denmark, here and now we choose Denmark. We choose NATO. We choose the Kingdom of Denmark. We choose the EU, Nielsen said. And Trump's response to that, when he was asked by a reporter, Trump said that that's their problem. Trump told reporters at Joint Base Andrews, "I disagree with them. I don't know who he is. I don't know anything about him, but that's going to be a big problem for him." This is the country that the United States, the territory, the area that the United States wants to take away from Denmark, from Europe, that the United States wants to take control over, and Trump has no idea who the Prime Minister of this area is. He has no idea. Doesn't even care. Who is this Nielsen guy? I don't care. I don't like him. I don't like him. I don't know him. He's gonna have a big problem. If you like this video, hit the like button. Also, subscribe to this channel, and sharing this video would also be very much appreciated. So Trump has no idea about who is running Greenland, nor does he care. All he knows is that if Greenland is not handed over to the United States, then there's going to be a big problem. Interesting statement from Nielsen, huh? If we had to choose between the United States and Denmark, we choose Denmark. We choose NATO. Well, NATO is the United States. We choose the Kingdom of Denmark. And we choose the EU. Well, the EU is subservient to the United States. So his statement is kind of 50-50, huh? We choose Denmark, but we also choose NATO. Well, you're basically saying that you choose Denmark, but you're also choosing the US. Right? Okay. Oh, man. So according to various diplomats who spoke, let's go this way, who spoke to Politico, the European Union is going all out to make a deal with Trump. They are doing whatever they have to do to make a deal with the US president and to make it appear as if the United States has not annexed Greenland, and that the United States is partnering with Europe, with the EU and NATO to secure Greenland, to build up military in Greenland, to extract minerals from Greenland, a partnership. They're going all out to structure a deal so that it looks like there is a cooperation and a partnership between the United States and Europe. They're trying very, very hard to make it look like they're working together on Greenland. This is according to Politico. Europe goes all out to make a deal with Trump on Greenland. EU governments say a military confrontation would be catastrophic for NATO, and see finding a negotiated solution their only option. So in this article, according to diplomats, they claim that this deal that they're trying to put together is all about giving Trump a win on Greenland without having Trump officially annex and take Greenland. How do you give Trump a win on Greenland without having him take Greenland? This is the problem. This is quite a problem, quite a pickle, huh? That the EU finds itself in, that Europe and Denmark finds itself in. Quite a predicament. How do you give Trump a win without him taking Greenland? I'm telling you, this is a job for Ursula and for Kaja Kallas to handle, to solve. Way above my pay grade. Way above my pay grade. So some of the ideas that they're kicking around are some sort of a security agreement, some sort of a lease, a military cooperation, military bases under NATO, mineral extraction where the United States gets a big chunk of the revenue. This is what they're thinking about. Trump is primarily looking for a win on Greenland, the diplomat said. If you can smartly repackage Arctic security, blend in critical minerals, put a big bow on top, there's a chance of getting Trump to sign on. Past experience, for example, when EU allies pledged to spend 5% on GDP on defense, showed this is always how things have gone. It's really not about giving a win to Trump. That's not what this is about. This is about the EU saving face, not about Trump saving face. As I said in my video update yesterday, what worries the EU most and what worries NATO the most is that the illusion of partners and allies between Europe and the United States is going to be broken, is going to be exposed. And this is going to be very embarrassing for the globalist leaders of Europe. Very embarrassing for Fredriksson. Very embarrassing for Ursula and Rutte. This is what really worries them. Everyone in Europe is going to realize, you know what? We're not partners with the United States. We're not on the same level with the United States. You guys have been lying to us, Rutte and Ursula Fredriksson. We're the vassals of the United States. This is what they fear. They don't want this illusion to be exposed. So they're trying to figure out a way to structure some sort of a deal where they save face, not where Trump saves face. They want to make sure that they come out looking good on a Greenland deal, which is crazy when you think about it, right? You're lecturing us for so many years, for so many decades, that Europe and the United States are partners. We're partners. We're best buds. We're partners. That's what you're telling us for so many years, for so many decades. But Trump comes along and says, you know what? I'm going to take a chunk of Europe. I'm just going to take it. I'm just going to take it. So what do you do? What do you do? It's the equivalent of two friends, two best friends, or at least they say they're best friends. And the stronger best friend goes to the other guy and says, you know what? We're best friends, sure. We're best friends, but I'm just going to take your car. What do you mean you're going to take my car? I'm just going to take your car. But I thought we were best friends. I thought we were on the same level. We shared everything together. We hung out together. We were best pals. What do you mean you're just going to take my car? I'm going to take your car. Look, don't take my car. I'll give you the keys to my car and an extra set of keys, and you can drive it whenever you want. I'll pay for the gas, I'll pay for the insurance, and you can take it whenever you want. No, that's not good enough. I'm just going to take your car. Come on, man. Come on, what's everyone going to think? What's everyone going to say about us? Everyone thought that we were best buddies, that we were pals. I don't know how this is all going to work out with Greenland, but one way or another, Trump is going to take it. And if he doesn't take it, officially, if he doesn't take it, he's going to take it. I don't know how they're going to structure a deal. But maybe Trump will be gracious enough to allow the Europeans to save face. Maybe he will be gracious enough or convinced to allow the Europeans to save face. So that is an update there. How am I doing on time, by the way? Yeah, let's wrap up this video. So we had 3 tankers hit yesterday in the Black Sea. Tankers from Kazakhstan, actually, 3 of them that were transporting, I believe, transporting oil from the Caspian project, which is partly owned. Not only is it owned by Kazakhstan, but you also have as a partner U.S. companies. So we're talking about U.S. energy as well. Anyway, these 3 tankers were hit by drones in the Black Sea. The reports are that these were Ukrainian drones, right? But when the reports say Ukrainian drones hitting Kazakhstan tankers in the Black Sea, what they really mean is Collective West operated drones, which really means the U.S. So the U.S. is hitting partly owned U.S. business interests in the region, is I guess where all of this eventually that's where this leads to. Ukraine, which behind Ukraine you're looking at most likely the UK or France, and behind the UK or France, eventually the road takes you to 3-letter agencies in the United States, at least with regards to the satellite and targeting and all of that stuff for the drones that hit these tankers. Russia still has a semi-blockade operating in Odessa as well. So that is still in force. Putin is back from wherever he was, holidays over Christmas and New Year's. Putin held a couple of meetings the other day, over the past couple of days, and he's back. No major statements yet from Putin, at least not with regards to foreign policy, not on Venezuela, not on Maduro, the tankers, Greenland, anything. He hasn't really made any big statements yet. Maybe by the time this video goes up, Putin will say something, but for the moment, he is meeting with officials discussing domestic stuff. But he is back. So in the Czech Republic, we have a mini scandal, or maybe a major scandal, we'll see. But the new government of Babiš unveiled details of a covert Ukraine arms program, about $13 billion of mostly foreign money was going through the Czech Republic, and it was making its way to Ukraine. It was purchasing the weapons and making its way to Ukraine. So the Czech Republic was handling the weapons, the money to weapons process. And according to Babiš, there was all kinds of funny business going on. The Czech budget had secretly put 17.1 billion crowns, or $822 million, into the weapons. All of it was hidden. It was all super secret. The prime minister added. Fiala, the former leader, rebuked Babiš, claiming he does not know what he is doing and accusing him of endangering the safety of people and companies involved. Yeah, he doesn't know what he's doing. He's Babiš is what, a billionaire businessman, but according to the former prime minister, he has no idea what he's doing when it comes to handling business, handling large sums of money and transactions. Babiš is clueless. No, Babiš uncovered. My guess is that Babiš uncovered this secret program of, or partly, let's say partly, secret program of money to weapons, with the Czech Republic playing some sort of central role in all of this. A program that probably could not be disclosed to the citizens of the Czech Republic, because we're talking about large sums of money that could be used elsewhere for the betterment of the people of the Czech Republic. And so Babiš is now uncovering this washing machine stuff that he's putting out there. Let's see what other information his government decides to disclose. And before we get to our clown world, a big story coming out of South Korea, where the former leader of South Korea, Yoon Suk-yeol, who was accused of insurrection over his 2024 declaration of martial law. Remember all of that? Which caused a huge constitutional crisis in South Korea. Anyway, he may be facing the death penalty, the ex-South Korean president. I remember this story, and you know what a lot of it had to do with? Because I remember reporting this at the time. A lot of this had to do with Project Ukraine and South Korean weapons, which could not be given to Ukraine for various legal and legislative constitutional issues. And so there was some sort of a deal being worked out where the United States would purchase the weapons. The Biden administration would purchase the artillery shells. They had a lot of artillery shells, South Korea. And the United States would take those artillery shells, or took those artillery shells, and then they bought those shells, and then they funneled them to the Green Goblin. And the former president, he got into all kinds of trouble with that scheme, or there was all kinds of trouble in and around that scheme. He wanted to continue it, and there was all kinds of poking around as to what was going on. Anyway, I remember reporting about this a couple of years ago, and so he decided to call martial law, and now he is facing the death penalty. An Zelensky curse to the max. This is an Zelensky curse big time. So anyway, that is an update there. And let's do a clown world. And let's talk about the Clintons, who refused to testify to Congress on Epstein, to a House committee, a House Oversight Committee chaired by James Comer. They were requested to testify. And the Clintons, Bill and Hillary, are saying no. No, I'm not going to testify, no. Bill Clinton posted on X. What did he post on X? This is not about right or left. It's about right and wrong. Got that? No one's above the law. Isn't that what Hillary Clinton was going on and on about with the whole Russiagate in 2016? No one's above the law, she said. No one. Except me and my husband. Slick Willie. They don't call him Slick Willie for nothing, all right? It's not about right or left. It's about right and wrong. So nothing to see here. The Clintons don't want to testify. At least there's some sort of movement with Epstein. At least if you want to find a silver lining to all of this, at least you can make the argument that something is happening with regards to Epstein. James Comer said, "You're right, President Clinton. This is about right and wrong. Epstein's survivors deserve justice and answers. Refusing to comply with a bipartisan, duly authorized congressional subpoena in our Epstein investigation is unacceptable. No one is above the law." That's right, no one is above the law. Except all of these guys. All of these guys are above the law. I imagine nothing's going to come out of this. Even Comer said in a statement that he just wants to talk to Clinton. That's it. We're not accusing him of anything. We just want to talk to him. And Clinton, briefed by his lawyers, is telling Congress to just buzz off. Buzz off and leave us alone. So that's the video. theduran.locals.com. We are on X and Telegram and Rumble. Go to the Duran shop. Pick up some merch. Link is in the description box down below. I will see everybody tomorrow. Take care.